G'day, it's Rob here again. Well, in the past I've reviewed a few model engines from Banggood, and I recently reviewed a little steam engine that was, well, quite small. It wasn't much bigger than a coffee cup. In fact, I don't think it was as big as a coffee cup. It was very tiny. Well, now Banggood have sent me something even smaller. This is a box of matches. This is supposedly a model steam engine. Not just any old steam engine. This is a V-twin steam engine. So that would have to be one of the smallest V-twin steam engines on the market. I'll open it up and see if it's okay. I haven't had a look on the box yet. So we'll see what we get. The engine comes in a Ziploc bag. We'll take it out and have a look at it. Wow, that is pretty impressive, isn't it? That is really tiny. It's a V-twin oscillator. Here's the inlet here. Here's the back of it. How cool is that, eh? Isn't that just amazing? Such fine work, so beautifully made. Amazing. It's got a nice long crankshaft journal too, you know, bearing or bush for the crankshaft to run in, so there's no wobble. Everything is nice and rigid. This would run on just the smallest amount of air, I should imagine. It's incredible. I'll come in close on it. So here's a better look at it. See the plumbing, very nicely done. Little tensioning screws there. No wobble in anything. It's all very nicely made. Pretty impressive, eh? Let me put it next to a box of matches. It's just so tiny. So, the thing is, now to mount it on something, put some air on it. See how it runs on air. And yeah, I'm just really blown away by this thing. So this would be the inlet and this would be the exhaust. That's how I see it. Okay, let's mount it and get it going. The screw holes are tiny 2mm holes, and they're spaced 20 by 16, so it's 16 wide, 20 deep millimetre. And I went through my small screws, nuts and bolts, and I've found 4 self-tappers that I can use to mount it. So that was a bit of luck, and yeah, that is super tiny. Alright, I'll mount it up and we'll get on with it. Mounting this was a bit tricky. They're 2mm self-tappers, and I've drilled a 1.6mm hole into pine on 3 of them. I haven't got the other one lined up quite right, so this will do just to test it. So now it's going to hook up an air line, if I got one that small, and get this going. Alright, I've got the air line hooked up, and it took a bit of trickery. I'll give it a bit of oil now. Right, everything's well oiled. I put a bit of oil in the airline too. Let's see how she'll go. Whoa, look at that. How good is that? Put a bit on the pivot points here, I think. That's amazing, isn't it? That's fantastic. When you consider how small this thing is, I mean, it's my finger. That's incredible. Put a bit more juice. It only rotates one way. I'll show you the air pressure it's running on. Not much. And here she is doing her stuff. Turn it back a bit. It's still running in, so once it's been run for a while it should be able to go slower. Whoops. Yeah, it's a little bit tight still. That's a great little machine, isn't it? Everything runs nice and true on it. The flywheel's pretty good. As I said earlier, there's no slack or slop in any of it. It's really good. I reckon this would be a good candidate to try and run on steam, seeing as it only uses a tiny bit of air. I'll slow it down. I reckon she'd be really good on steam. Whoops. A bit too low. Turn the air up a bit. So there you have it. It's an amazing little steam engine, particularly when you compare it to the size of a box of matches. It's so tiny, it's just incredible. And it runs magnificently, and it's called a Microcosm microscale M65 mini V2 steam engine. It costs $73 Australian, and a couple of bucks for shipping. Now, it comes from the warehouse in Canada, so it took a couple of weeks to get here, which isn't too bad. And yeah, didn't get damaged, no problem. I'll put up a couple of screen grabs now. You can have a look at what it's all about. And I'll also put a link in the video description so you can go straight to it and poke around and see what it costs in your part of the world. But overall, I think it's quite reasonable. And it's certainly, pretty impressive. Okay, well that's it from me. Down the track I'll hook this up to Steam and give it a go. And I might even make a permanent setup out of it with Steam, and I think it should run pretty damn well. Okay, well I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time. Cheers.